There's a hidden step to leadership that if you miss this step, it will sabotage your results. You see, many of you have big hopes, big dreams, have best laid plans, but aren't getting the results that you know that you should be getting. And if you'll stick with me to the end of this episode, I'm gonna pull back to the covers on some inside leadership tips and tactics that may reveal to you the missing step to your success. Welcome back to another Increase podcast. I'm your host, Blake Anderson. It's time to tighten up our game. It's time to take our leadership to the next level. You see, the results that you're after, the promotions that you want, the increased income that you're looking for are going to be a result of your leadership. John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership, and I agree with him here, but there is a hidden step that we're going to go over today that if you don't know to take the step, if this is not a tool in your leadership tool belt, then there is no way that you're reaching the full potential of your team and of your business. When you learn to implement this step, you will see your results change almost immediately. This could be the pivotal thing that you need to hear to help you change your results. So what are we talking about? Well, clearly we're talking about influence, but we're talking about how to gain influence. And we want to equip you with a tool on how to get buy-in and people on board to say yes to you and yes to your plan, yes to the success that you're hoping to lead them to. John Maxwell wrote that the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. We've got to know fundamentally to be a leader, we have to have influence with the people that we're leading. And that looks like many different things, but what it doesn't typically look like simply is authority. Too many leaders are playing the authority trump card and assuming because I'm the boss, because I wrote the plan, because I'm writing the check, then you will do what I say. Should someone fulfill their contract? Absolutely. Should they follow the boss or the leader of the company? They should. Will they? Well, that'll depend on the amount of influence that you have with the people that you're trying to lead. You see, people will push back in many different ways, not always just in the meeting, but people will buy in when they have given influence over to a leader. And as I've said many times, that leadership is up and down the chain. It's not just the boss. It's not just the department head. It's not just the CEO who is the leader. The leader is anyone who has influence, anyone who's willing to take ownership for the results, and anyone who has a vision for a greater place. You have the ability to be a leader no matter where you fit in the chain of command, but we're always trying to get people to join our team, to help with something, to try to get to another destination. And whether they will or not has everything to do with the influence that you do or don't have with them. Stephen R. Covey wrote that with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. You see, leadership moves at the speed of influence. Too often we are skipping the steps of influence building to try to rush the field and rush ahead, only to have people slow us down. Have you ever tried that? Come up with a great new plan that's going to revolutionize the company, that's going to mean increased income to everyone. And then when you go to explain it to everyone, you have pushback, you have hesitation, you have resistance. You see, when you try to move fast with people, they're going to likely slow you down. But if you're willing to take the slow route to build influence with people, then they'll be able to move fast. You see, Thomas à Kempis wrote, "The loftier the building, the deeper the foundation must be laid." And that's so true with your influence. Think about your leadership influence as the foundation underneath the relationship. You see, if you don't have a strong foundation under your relationship, then there's only so much you can build upon it. But if you want to build great things upon your relationships, great things upon your team, then you've got to have at a foundation of influence built. And here's the thing you got to understand about a foundation. The most important part of the foundation is underground. The most important part of a foundation of a building can't be seen. You see, influence has to be built and earned, typically behind the scenes in the relationship. And that takes time. That is the slow way. Most people are rushing ahead into the plan, skipping the relationship, and then wonder why they're not getting to their successful destination. I'll tell a really recent story. We're making some really critical changes in our real estate business right now. And these are changes that have the ability to help everyone in the company. But it's going to be a pretty dramatic change in the way we do things. It's going to solve a lot of people's daily problems and save a lot of time, but it's going to take some investment on everyone's part to start doing something new. So we rolled this vision out to the team to start to get their buy-in. And as we were talking before even the meeting, it was my suggestion that we shouldn't try to implement everything today. Let's just seed the information. Let's seed the process and plan a period of time of implementation, not to put too much pressure on it, and meet with all the individual leaders to make sure we got buy-in. We agreed on that. We rolled out this vision, and we even prefaced it by saying, this won't happen tomorrow. We just want to get you aware of it, and we're going to be working on it in the subsequent weeks. And can you imagine exactly what happened next? Even with that caveat, there were people at the table that said, whoa, I don't know about this because I have this problem and I have that problem. Oh my gosh, but I don't think you've thought about what I have to do. And these are the people that we designed the system for. You see, with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. Now, luckily, we brought them back and said, hey, we're not trying to implement today. We just want you to be aware of it. We're going to be meeting with people individually to make sure that the system we create addresses your concerns, makes your job easier, saves you time, ultimately solves the problems that you're dealing with. So not all was lost, but even in prefacing its introduction, we got resistance. Can you imagine what would have happened if we would have dedicated the entire team meeting to introducing this new process? Probably we would have ended the meeting frustrated and had to go back to the drawing board, redesigning the system. You see, when you're trying to implement change and you're trying to lead people to new places, you need to prepare them for the change. You need to build influence with them. You need to take the slow route of building the influence so it's easy for them to say yes. If you're struggling with a relationship right now, if someone is seeming to grate your nerves or ask you their own questions or frustrate you, I have a feeling that you've tried to move too quickly on the relationship. My suggestion to you is to slow down a little bit and invest in that relationship. I suggest you go back and listen to one of our most recent episodes about leadership. We talk about the 3 E's of leadership that you might need to invest in the relationship through empathy, through encouragement, and then finally through equipping as you work out the new process. See, what you've got to understand that John C. Maxwell says that people buy into the leader, then the vision. Okay? They won't follow your plan if they won't follow you. So when you create this new process that's going to save everybody time, when you create this new plan that's going to take you to new places, when you create this new system that should make people more money, before you roll it out, you've got to make sure that you have the influence with the people who are going to be using it. You need to make sure that they're willing to follow you before you ask them to follow your plan, because they are sizing up the vision based on you. They're sizing you up first. Can I trust this person? Do I want to follow this person? Will they take me somewhere good? Once they've checked those boxes, they're willing to listen. So I want to ask you right now, how committed are you to your result? Are you willing to take the slow route so that you can get somewhere faster? Do you want to avoid the pitfalls of failures? You want to avoid the frustrations and fights amongst your team? It's going to take time and it's going to take a commitment. So I want you to think through a few things. This doesn't come naturally. It seems so obvious. What I've just told you right now, I bet you, isn't new. But most leaders I meet out there are passive aggressive, and they haven't really thought through this equation to even think why this might be important. They say, well, I'm busy. So why do people skip this step? All right. Let me see if this rings a bell. If you check any of these boxes, people skip the step of taking the slow route to build the relationship before they move forward with the plan. First reason they skip the step is they want to save time. Well, they just want to fire the email off. They just want to send the text and keep moving. That'll take too long. I don't want to make the phone call. I don't want to set up the meeting. Who's got time for another meeting? See, they want to save time, right? So you think you're saving time by sending the email. But let me ask you, how many subsequent emails have you sent? Answering the same question over and over and over again, having the same dispute and discussion because you wanted to save time and send the email. Some of you are trying to avoid confrontation. Some of you are playing passive aggressive and you want to avoid a confrontation on the subject, and so you just deal with it. Well, how's that going? How excited are you to deal with the person that you're frustrated with? Because you want to avoid confrontation. Some of you think that it doesn't affect the other person. There's people on your team that you're not taking the time to get their buy-in because you're thinking, well, it doesn't really affect them. Or you might be saying, it's not their decision to make anyways. You see, leaders at the top were way too guilty of trying to keep the rest of the team out of the decisions, thinking that it's not their decision to make or doesn't affect them. And we're creating all the plans that are going to, that they are going to have to use or implement because, this is our decision to make. We own this company. I pay them to do what I say. And then wonder why they struggled to implement your plan with success. Wonder why they pick it apart right out the gate and you leave the meeting frustrated and they're not even implementing your plan. Okay? Or here's the final reason that people skip this step. And I bet you this will pertain to almost everyone watching this episode. You don't want to bother people. You're afraid to waste their time. You're trying to save someone the 2 to 3 hours of creating the plan, of being a part of the strategy session, of the brainstorming, because I know they're busy and I don't want to waste their time. I want them just to be able to keep doing what they're doing. I'm doing this because I love them, because I care for them. Listen, if you really care about someone on your team, if you really value that person, you need to get them involved in the new process and the new plan and the new software you're about to buy. You need to get them involved because they have an opinion that matters, and it will not only change how they think about you, it will not only get your buy-in from them, it'll change how they implement and how they do the strategy. Your team will implement a strategy they are bought into and believe in so much better when they've been a part of the process rather than when you tried to save them time. So what do? How do you build influence? If you've listened to this far in the episode, you probably are thinking back to some situations that didn't go well. Probably thinking back to some people on your team who are frustrating to you, who don't seem to do it your way. I want you to think about that for a second. These are the people you need to build influence with. These are the relationships that you need to change. Because not everybody on our teams need to be fired. Many people on our teams just need some investment in the relationship to get people working well. There's been plenty of teams that I've been a part of and consulted, and you have talented people on the team who bring expertise and experience to the table, but don't work well together. And if you meet them individually, you say, wow, what a wonderful person. How lucky they are to have that person. What a wonderful person. How lucky they are to have her. But the team doesn't function well. Why? Because they're not taking the time, the slow time, to invest in the relationships and build influence with each other. So here's a few things that you can do to start building influence. One, you can spend time with people. You see, relationships are built on trust, and that takes time. Let's be honest. Who do you trust in your life? Probably you'll trust people who are willing to spend time with you. It's going to take time. Remember, Covey says, with people, fast is slow, but slow is fast. It's going to take empathy. You see, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You're going to have to take time to get in their lives. You're going to have to take time to care about their lives. You're going to have to take time to care about them, to empathize with them. They need to know that you care and that you're listening, that you're on their level, that you can be trusted. Third is you're going to have to start listening to people. You're going to have to start valuing them enough to listen. You're going to have to start asking them for feedback. You're going to have to start involving more people in the decision-making plan. Even if you have the authority to make the final decision, and even if this person has no vote at the table, their input is valuable. And when people know they're valued, they will give influence to you. When they know they're valued, they will give you another level of effort. When they know they're valued, they'll do a better job. Fourth thing that you can do to build influence, stop surprising people with your next best plan. No surprises. See, most people don't deal with change very easily. Change is hard and it takes time. Stop surprising your team. Listen, I have built a culture of leadership and success, and my partner and I, one thing that we tell our team, there's only one thing that's constant around this place, and that is change. So change can still be a part of your organization, but you don't surprise people with the change. When change is coming, start conversations, reach out to people one-on-one, make individual phone calls to prepare them to get their input, so that when the change needs to happen, the whole team is pivoting together. But when you're surprising someone with a new process, a new software, a new plan, their initial response is going to be, whoa, 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 slow down on me. I need to know more. Stop surprising your people. And then finally, a way to build influence, this is one of my favorite ones, is through results. You will build influence with your team when they trust your results. People will follow you to the next destination if the last place was to victory. You as a leader have got to show them that you're going to take ownership and responsibility for the results, and that the plans you make win. Prove your influence with them. Prove your value, your worth, and prove that you care for them through your results. Be someone who keeps their word. Be someone who shows up on time. Be someone who is complete and thorough with the work that they're doing. Allow them to judge you by your fruit. Less talk, more action. Show them with your results. So it's time to take your leadership game to the next level. Your results in your business and your life will change immediately when you understand this principle that with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. So every time you're excited about something new, think about who it involves and do I have influence? How will it affect them? How can I get them to the table early? How can I seed and prep them with this new idea? How can I build a foundation of trust and influence with my team and with the person I'm trying to lead, so that when we go to do something new, when we go to depart for a new destination, that we're all moving with confidence together, and I guarantee you it will make all the difference in your results. You can be a transformational leader who brings change where you go when you're someone who has influence and you understand that with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. I hope you'll join me for the next episode of the Increase Podcast.